And I know you've got your team that wants to have it too. There we go. Okay. All right. So our foundation is we're trying to get to them to be used digital for good, right? So we're getting that with our three pillars to get them to lead with our internship kind of stuff too. All of our curriculum comes as a PDF. It's super simple as a teacher, right? I get it. When I taught, I was in charge of the curriculum that went to advisory period. Most of the lessons are about 15 minutes. That's kind of the average time. I've got one school actually in Elk Grove that they got it down to 7 minutes, that they video it and they push it through their classes that way as a video. And it gives them the time of how long they have for discussion, that kind of stuff. So it also comes as a PDF. I'm sorry, not a PDF, as a Google slide. So this is what it looks like. And everything we made is made with students for students. So if a teacher wants to screen share it and have it that way, they can as well. So again, all the graphics were made by a college graphic designer.
About how many lessons would you say there are?
Yeah, so in the digital citizenship curriculum, it's 50 plus curriculum, but that's why it is a year long, because we're constantly adding to it. I got a really fun one that I'm going to be adding into. It'll be added soon, where it's called photo roulette, where they have to do a roulette through their photos and see what kind of pops up. So yeah, so that's kind of what that one is. It's over 50 lessons. We have it broken down by quarters. Every school is different. Some of them do it weekly. Some of them only do a week long because it's part of their digital citizenship week. So with that, they usually ask me, hey, what are your 10 best lessons? I tell them, hey, can you give these 15 to the students and let them pick which ones they want? Because we want it to be peer-to-peer. Okay. If the videos are embedded, that's all there. So it's easy for you guys to have. Aaron Judge with the Yankees, he's made his Sharpie one with us. So that's one of the lessons that we have. Okay. And then after every video, there's always discussion questions. So it's all easy access, kind of all super simple. They're all very interactive, very engaging. Again, made with students for students. So we're always asking the students, hey, how is this okay to ask? So that's kind of that format of that. Does that make sense, everybody on that end? Okay, perfect. What also is cool about our organization is, like I said, I just went to these schools. After this is over, what I'm trying to do is get the schools, hey, how this best works is if you get a student that jumps, encourage them to join us, because then they get to be a part of the messaging. They get to be part of the conversations, and then they're proud and they bring it back. So that's why it's so important that we get more Missouri people on board, so we can kind of make that impact there. And then it keeps the message, going. Oops, they click to the website. There we go. Okay. No, it's going to do that again. Sorry, you guys. Is it going to do it again? Okay, hang on. So fun. And then what's neat about it too is our college students. If you have any college students who are looking for college credit or for experience, I've had students, I'm now at that point where students who saw me when they were in middle school, they're now applying to be a intern with us. They're now applying to be with us even that after that, which is pretty neat. There we go. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Here, I'm going to do this activity because I want you guys to see it. So I just did this one to middle schoolers so you guys can actually get it. So I want you guys to vote, and you're going to use your fancy Zoom emojis. What I would do is I would actually have two students up in the front, but for you guys, if you want to vote for Mallory, who's our former lead intern, or for me, so Mallory, you'll raise your hand, and then for me, you'll raise your thumb. Okay, so raise your hand who do you think, I'm sorry, vote, lock in your vote on who do you think is taller? Who do you think is taller? Do you think it's Mallory or do you think it's Kim? Go ahead and put up your thumb or your hand. Who do you think it is? John's voting for me. Ooh, I like it. Like your style. What do you think, Kim? What do you think? Oh, you're gonna vote for me too. Okay. Who do you think is more athletic? Who do you think is more athletic? Go ahead and lock in your votes. Is it Mallory? Or, oh, you're gonna vote for, oh, okay, tied. We had a tie there. Us Magazine called. They want to know who wore it best. Who wore it best? Who wore the I Can Help t-shirt better? Who wore it better? Let's see it. Lock in your votes. Lock in your votes. Oh, Mallory, I'm gonna let her know. Okay, I'll let her know. Perfect. And the last one is, who do you think is hotter? Who do you think is hotter? Go ahead and lock in your votes. What? You guys, oh,
I'm going by age, because if you're my age, which I think you are, we are always hot.
I love it. I love it. I love how you'd explain yourself. And here's the thing. I just did this with middle schoolers and they freaked out that last one, like, "Wah!" Right? They freak out. And even high schoolers freak out too. And it's super funny. And then we bring them back like, hey, if it gets awkward, uncomfortable, should you participate? Some of you guys, again, they are the ones who get to decide on in their age category, what is fun and funny? When does it cross the line of being inappropriate, rude, cruel, and even awkward for that person that you shouldn't even participate, right? And that's a hard thing to teach this age group, but this is what they're doing with their, like, especially middle schools, it's the shit pages. But high school, I'm constantly dealing with, they put people against each other in like March Madness, there's always something, and just teach them like, these are real people behind these screens. And we have to be really careful when we do that because it is, but it's just that awkward feeling, should you participate? So if you go back, you can see the discussion questions, asking the two students, what did it feel like to get voted on? Some students love it, right? They love getting voted on. They're like, oh, I love it. Like, I'm okay. Even if I lost, I'm okay with it. Like, that's their style. But other people are like, that was awkward to me, right? And they hate it. And then you even ask the students, what did it feel like to have to vote? So what did it feel like to have to vote?
It didn't feel great. It made me nervous.
You're like, what scheme is Kim getting me into? Right. And it's that, and then brings out the real conversations. That's what we want, is for them to have real organic conversations so that other things will come up and they bring out real life scenarios. Hey, this is what happened to me. They pulled this, or they pulled, like, all these things, natural conversation. So that's what our curriculum does, is it brings out very relevant, very timely. The best compliment I've gotten is it was called the best curriculum for tired teachers. So, because it really is supposed to be the peers leading these, just the teachers have to be involved to be able to work side by side with them. Okay. So just kind of seeing that, and then this is how it looks as a Google slide. So it's super easy for them to do. There's the question as a Google slide, how it would appear for the teachers or the student to kind of lead. And it's just continued. So you can see how that looks. Okay. We have a video course. This is two things. This is the digital student video course. It's 10 videos. 10 videos. I just finished a different video course. It's a 10 video series. Two things people have done this for. They couldn't afford us to come in and do a school presentation. So they did this to get all the students on the same page. They watched it in a certain period together. And again, there's questions at the end. Or we give you access codes where you have every single student take it before registration. If they took it, they bring their certificate they completed, they get front of the line, they get some kind of a free swag. Like, you guys can kind of come up with some kind of incentive to actually take it, right? It's also what schools are using it for is restorative justice. So if they get caught doing something on social media, this is also can be what that one's for. Okay, so if anybody's interested in that, I can definitely show what that one looks like, but I want to make sure you see that. All right, so then this is the social media literacy one. I'll pull that up, but just so you can kind of see, this is the actual class. I made this when I was actually teaching during COVID. I actually taught online with my old school. I have several schools who are using this with 6th graders, 8th graders, and freshmen and sophomores. So I do, and the curriculum, it's the same curriculum, but they're using it with all 4 grades. It's broken into these categories. The chapters is how it's kind of set up. There's the rubric. It all comes with that. But then this is kind of, hey, who influences you and who do you influence? So it's getting them to think about it. Each of these things, again, it comes in Google Slide, but then in the Google Slide notes, let me actually do it this way. I have it as, I have it where in the Google Notes, you can actually see the thing, and then it has a link right to the worksheet as well. So if you want to do it as a worksheet, it's there as well. Okay, so it comes as a as a PowerPoint with the slide notes in the bottom of the slide. It also comes as a PDF on the side for everybody. Okay. And so these are kind of the things. Then there's journal prompts that they can ask. This is a real thing. The online friends, oof, online friends are real things, and they're having friends that they're FaceTiming, they're doing different things. So this is how we get them to come up with questions, right? To get them to talk about online friends. How do we know if they're safe? How do we protect ourselves from the, stranger danger? That was how we were doing it, but they no longer have stranger danger because they're playing games, they're doing different things, they think they know them. My admin friend, she actually just shared with me that her daughter, who's a junior in high school, was dating someone from off of TikTok that's in a different state. So she's like, oh, they're in a different state, like no problem. And then he flew out by where she lives by Disney, and the daughter went and met with her without her knowing and hooked up. Right. So again, there's online friends and the conversation has to be made. Right. So it's starting to talk about these things. And you don't think it's going to happen to an admin person, and because you're constantly having these conversations. So it is kind of having those. This is another one that's in the class. It's ranking, giving them a scenario, right? Giving them a scenario and then having them rank from 1 to 10. Is this a harmful or harmless? Rob doesn't normally get good grades. He's worried about that his poor grades will affect his ability to get into college. So on a few major assignments, he finds papers online and puts his name on them to turn them in. He thinks this might help his chances of getting into college. So has them rate it from 1 to 10, 1 being harmless, 10 being harmful. And then the next slide, they have to say why they rank it that. Right? What were they thinking? Like what motivated that person? And then the next thing is, what are the consequences of the person's actions? How do you think it might end up affecting the person, and how it might affect other people? The big one we put in the notes is make them think about the admin. First, this one would be the English teacher. How much time did they get affected by spending on this? And that the admin has to do some consequence that they wasted the admin's time, right? Having to do investigation. So getting them to think about all those different things, because a lot of times when they do this, they only think about themselves. They don't think about the consequences of everybody else. Okay. So that just gives you kind of an example of that. But let me actually go in. Let me show you while we're talking about it. Let me go in. So this is when you get it, you'll get access. You'll get a code access. And again, if you buy it, anything, you just tell us how many codes you would need for the curriculum, because some schools need all their teachers to go access into it. Some of them only need certain ones. So that was social media literacy. So then you click on that. And then you would pick which one you want to go into. So I'm going to say digital first responder. And if you can see, there's a pacing guide, there's facilitator notes, all that is right here. So all I have to do is click on this. It will download it. I can then pop it open. I can print it out. And then boom, it has your facilitator notes for each slide. But what's nice is I actually have it embedded on the PowerPoint as well. So here's what this looks like, but then here's what it looks like as a Google slide. And then if you can see at the bottom when it pulls up, each of these, wait a second, has the speaker notes at the bottom. And then if there's reference to something, it always has the links right there as well. So the links are on the PDF and the links are in the Google Slides too. Okay. And then this one's all about digital first responder. And then if there's certain activities, there's that one we just did, we just bed it right in, and they're just able to walk right through. We even give them worksheets about words, what's a digital reputation, getting them to even like think about red solo cups, like how that can make you look, right? Different things. Even having college coaches talking about their social media presence. So all those things are right inside, and it's easy to embed. That the teacher then just kind of follow this. So this is one of those, this is the actual class that they can pull. Any questions so far? Okay, perfect. So as you can see, we even like if there's an assignment, like here's about labeling the digital citizenship, and then we actually give them some examples. You can tell some of them are pretty bad because it's sixth graders. Some of them are, this was definitely a high schooler. But those are all embedded so they can, the teach sometimes is way easier when they can show a couple samples. So that's why we put that in there for you to kind of use. So it's all there. And then one of my favorites is after where they rate. We also do real life examples where they can like see, hey, this kid got expelled because they posted this up on their Twitter account, but then, or Facebook account, I think Facebook and Twitter, because they're advocating that the school has dirty water. So it's teaching them like, hey, what could this student have done instead of posting it up on their social? They could have gone to the principal, they could have gone to the school board, done a presentation about this because that is nasty, right? So teaching them like, hey, what can you do instead of just being like, oh, let me take a picture, let me post this, let me just blast this out, because that's what their generation's used to. Talking to them about that process and what the right protocols are. So that's a real story. And then so this is another real story. So it gives them, and then what they do is their homework is they have to go find something. So they go find a real example of that. And then they can present that. So that can be one of your lessons too. So that's always a fun one. Okay. So that's the difference with this one. Is how that one's set up. And like I said, it is every single teacher who's in it. They're like, Kim, like I have one that's she teaches math and science. And she's like, I was afraid I was gonna have to teach this class because I had to prep for it. And she's like, nope, I literally just show up and I know exactly what slides I'm gonna do next. And it's so easy laid out that everything's there. So everyone feels super confident in doing it, and they have no problem asking. No one, honestly, I send them a message, do you guys need anything? And they're like, nope, we're good. You've made it so easy. So that is truly, I'm very real on what people say. Okay, so let me just show you, this is kind of what one of the sample of like the student worksheets look like. Create a list of all the posts you like and don't like on social media. And then it's interesting for them to show because things that I like, you might not like, right? And so we just need to be aware of that. So it just kind of gives them something to think about and talk about, have that discussion. But that's kind of how all of our stuff, again, is made with students for students. So this is our student graphics team that makes this stuff. Okay, so let me go in back to here. The other one, since John, you're on here, is we have an admin course. And what the admin course does is it actually teaches you how to investigate and what is your policy. So some schools are out of date on what their policy is, especially with the Supreme Court, the cheerleading ruling. You can no longer just kick a kid off because of social media posts. If it's a threat, yes, you can, right? But I'm talking about just generic kind of things. For them just to vent, you can't do that. So it's just making sure is your policy up to date. So what that one again looks like, let me go here. Just go back into my library. And go into here. What I'm working on right now is actually an emergency social media plan. So when something does go down, it's going to be a faster way of how to handle stuff. So that's what I'm working on right now. So this is what it looks like. It's done by chapters. So the first chapter is creating a social media and digital technology policy. So it breaks it down. There's video content that you can watch the stories. It's an actual step-by-step how to actually build a technology policy. There's sample links inside of these, so you can take a look and you can see them. If you did it from start to finish and you actually like worked on the policy, it's about an 8-hour course is the time for that. If you actually sat and like wrote the policy, some people have done it in 2 hours, but they're like, I just wanted to see what to do. And I'll come back to making the policy later. So, and then step 2 is about investigating. So you can actually click in here and you can see what we have. So again, here is the anonymous cyberbullying report. So that's for students to report. I'm actually making a new one that's a little bit more up to date to have them actually check what was actually happening. Because sometimes it's easier. Sometimes students don't know what slander is or that kind of stuff. So it just helps you with that piece. So it has all the forms right in here for you. and then teaches you how to do some investigations on it. I even have, let's see where that's at. Additional tips for managing cyberbullying. Oh, that's not there. Oh, this is the image that if you're having major issues with all kinds of fake pages, this is what you can send out to your especially your leadership students or to your admin staff. Harry, here's the steps to take this down. You don't want to just report the page. You want to report every post and the page. Okay. So, and then I have another one that's in there where it's a direct link to all the, you can pull it up really quick. It's a direct link to all the social media where you can go to report. So you don't have to go and like struggle to find it. So down here is where all the resources are. And so there's a checklist. Incident investigation template. So this is the like checklist that we're having admin follow. Are you making sure you got everything right? So it just follows that. That's all in there. And then, like I said, there's one that has, oh, we even have the generic letters that you can send home if you're having issues. Okay. If you're having issues, those are all there. But I do have, like I was saying, I have one about like, hey, here's the page. If it's happening in Discord, here's where you can go report. So that's what's in the admin course. Okay. So with that being said, then see what's next. Okay. What comes with the digital citizenship curriculum even comes with these posters that you can hang up on your campus. Again, all of these discussions were made by students for students. So super easy. And then so this one is, sorry, there's a suicidal comment on their page, right? Here's what you can do. You need to call them right away. You need to make sure you're text the hotline, right? Something that you need to do. Check in with an adult or supervisor from the school, listen to them, don't give advice, right? Those are the things that students have said are their answers. And then it's making them pause. How would you answer to this one? When students actually put this up, they're like so surprised that the posters actually stay up and no one rips them down, which is pretty cool. Okay. So again, they know that this is all made. This one is like internet safety, where it's a scavenger hunt. So with you two, let's see, do you guys have Instagram? Let's see who can do it first. Or actually this is Snapchat, my fault, or TikTok. Do you guys have TikTok? Let's see if you guys have it. No TikTok for you, John? That's surprising, disappointing. That's okay. So I have one for Instagram too, but on Instagram, who can find how to unfollow somebody on Instagram? Whoever holds up their phone first, they would be the winner, and then they would explain it to the group first. If they don't have a phone, they're my judge, and they're the ones who gets to point out, hey, they're our winner or whatever else. Or you can put them in pairs. So there's a couple of different ways we do it. And then we have it for Fortnite. We have it for some online games, that also for the gamers. So it's making sure that, do you know how to actually report? Do you know how to delete a comment? Do you know how to do those different things? So it's a fun way to really talk to them about safety. We've tried to make videos and then they just change. So we just stopped making videos and we just did the scavenger hunt. Okay. We do kind of have a pacer guide by a couple of things, because again, and I can help you make, if you guys are only going to do a couple of things, I can help you with that. But most schools are wanting to do our curriculum, all of it. Okay. And before I go into this one, let me show you the difference with that curriculum. So that one's the digital citizenship curriculum. So here's what that looks like. All right. So it's broken down, as you can see, it's broken down by quarters. So it's by quarters. There's over 10 lessons in each quarter. And so if I click on, let's say I do this one, ask it up. If I click on it, I can download it over here as a PDF, or I can download it as a Google slide, or we've embedded it into the website so they can just read it like, hey, do I want to do this one? Do I not want to do this one? So it's also embedded here. Okay. So that's all there for them to do. So this is one where you ask them to bring something up as quick as they can. So, hey, who can bring me up glasses? Who can bring me up the fastest? They bring you a pair of glasses. Yay, you get a point. Who can bring me a rubber band? You just throw out random things. And then you go into, now it's, you go into their phone. Who can bring me a text that was taken the wrong way? Who can bring me a text that they were just joking? Who can bring up a rude text message? Who can bring up a compliment? Right? And then who can bring up a trusted adult? And again, you're trying to have that conversation with them on those different things. And then it's going into discussion. So you start off kind of low risk, moving into the higher risk. So that's what this kind of lesson does. And then your discussion notes are there. What also comes with this curriculum, like I said, this is a very plug and play kind of style. If you go down to after Q4, there's stuff for clubs, because we really think every school should have a club if they have this, because students want to help. They just don't know how. So we give them ideas of what they can do at their school. We give them even kindness bingo. We have smile cards. We have posters that you can hang up. Admin, there's stuff for you. So what the gifts we have for admin is the restorative justice handout. We've got schools all over that are using this. They love it. Here's what it looks like. It's when a kid, they're in trouble, they have to fill this out. What are 3 positive traits about yourself? What were you thinking when this happened? I wanted attention from my peers. I was frustrated. I didn't know how to help, ask for help appropriately. I didn't feel well. I was upset or angry. I wanted to feel secure or included. And then on the back, if you were feeling this way, what are you going to do next time? Right? Reflecting back, what steps can you take to fix the situation? And then it's making them choose their consequence. I will be honest with you, a written apology doesn't work with this age group anymore. The best policy, one thing that does work is watching them make them watch that video course, and then also making them do a PowerPoint presentation. They get to choose some people to do the presentation from. It can be staff or students, whatever they feel more comfortable with. They get to kind of choose that. It's not an embarrass them. It's just they can pick their friends. We don't care. And then there's a parent part to it as well, if they choose to do that. So, and then the other piece that we have to go along with it is there's parent stuff. So parent guidelines, questions you can ask about social media, and then age appropriate. What's the right age for social media? So those are all the documents that kind of come with it, with that curriculum. Let me pause. Anybody have any questions on this? Okay. So then the last one is just about our presentations. So presentations, going to be honest with you, that's how you get everybody on the same page. We do have proof that we are working. Like I said, I was just at a school. I was at 4 schools in the past in Temecula. I was doing their entire district. One school alone, they had over 10 pages get reported. I actually went back to the school today because they asked me to come back because they wanted to talk to me from the admin perspective. They go, what, we don't like, we've had so many people thank us because of how we talk to them. And John, to be honest, what you saw at MOAS, that's kind of how I talked to the students, that presentation. I only added a few pieces to talk to admin, but I wanted you to see how we talk to students, because again, we're working side by side with them. So what we do with adults is kind of what we do with students, because we want you to have the same lingo, have the same language, that you understand it. We make it very interactive. We have them included and involved. So that's kind of how we're able to get these proven results, because the students know they need to be part of the solution, is the answer for when these dark things are happening. Again, what we're doing though, and this is for you too, Kim, is we're trying to get it where it's not just one school hiring us. We really see the impact when you get the schools around you to also do it. So especially if you're high school, get your middle school. Some are even getting the elementaries to get involved because they're seeing the problems as well. We do have an elementary component. I did one in Kansas recently, and they were surprised at the conversations they were able to have with even 3rd graders after the presentation, because they're so embedded, like they watch TikTok with their mom, right? Their parents. So it's having those conversations. You can't be on it. You are not old enough. You're supposed to be 13. So really instilling it into their head, even when they're elementary, really helps you when you're in high school, like when they get to you in high school. And then even the surrounding schools, because they are so connected with sports, that if you're having an issue at your school, I guarantee you it's going to get passed to that school and the other school and everything. So the more schools you can have, the more impact, because that's social media. It's a web. It's a massive web that kind of have that. So that's those pieces. Like I said, we're changing our curriculum constantly to keep it up to date and to kind of have those conversations together and to have it. So yeah, we do have other ones in here, but I think those are the big ones that you guys kind of asked about. I have some schools that are asking for the 21-day digital wellness challenge. Honestly, you know who's getting that? The staff. The staff has been using it, they buy it, and then they have conversations together because they're so burnt out. It's just good for them to have that conversations together on that end. Okay. Any questions? Just wanted to make sure if there's anything else. By the way, the big thing we also have in September, we have Digital for Good. It gets live streamed. We try to get as many schools we can to watch that. And again, that's showing positive students who are using social media for good. So I'm hoping it's in San Francisco. It's kind of weird because it's supposed to be at TikTok, or not TikTok, at Twitter, but with the whole Elon Musk, hopefully that doesn't stop us from having them host it. We'll see what happens. So it's fun to watch the news right now. Any questions that you guys have, or anything you want me to go pull back up?
So Kim, this is mainly focused on social media, but then you do address some social issues throughout the lessons, correct?
Yeah. So especially the mental health, huge. I mean, it's social, but it's so connected. Everything is so connected that yes, it's all very social emotional learning. Everything is very connected back to social emotional learning too.
Do you connect back to race at all?
Yeah, we talk about race. I mean, that again, that's one of the questions on that poster. If there's a racial comment, how are you going to handle it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all those microaggression like things. That's definitely, I know that's huge at school. So if you want me to directly, a lot of times schools will tell me, hey, we're having issues with this, and I'll make sure I totally bring that up during the presentation if you have me for a presentation piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you do a whole school presentation, is that like an hour or two, or do you break that into, you do an hour and then you break it into 100 kids? What's the preferred method there? I know at one point you had talked about several different schools getting together, you know,
Sure.
50, 60 kids.
Yeah. I think it's honestly best if you had your whole school do it. How big is your school? How many students do you have?
1,800.
Okay, so basically you can decide on your space the best and your students the best. Of course, 1,800 is a lot. So if you can split that into three presentations, that would be the best. I know that's what Kim, their school does. They do it by grade level. And it's nice because when you have them all in there, they all see each other and we call them out on how they're acting. So my best compliment I got yesterday at the school was, the teacher came up, she's like, how does she tell them they're being assholes without telling them they're being assholes in the most polite way? They're like, I need to learn from that, right? So that's what I'm doing, is I'm calling them, if they're being like not being the best behaved, because they do talk, like that is I will be honest with you, they talk because I'm showing them slides that are that resonate with them. So I get it. But as a teacher, I know how to pull them back, and I have them like, by the end of it, they're like, they're the other best compliment I get from superintendents and principals is like, I've never seen students pay attention so well, right? Like, even though they're talking about the topic that's up on the screen. That's the biggest thing that is happening. So I would do it as small. And then usually when people have us come back, I honestly come back and I do a trainer model. And that's where I do about 100 students per school. And then I'm training them. They should see it the first year. That's the best model. I train them on how to go back to their schools to really do better at doing the curriculum. And then we even give them a small PowerPoint that they can continue the presentation themselves. So we give them a small presentation that second year that they go back and they even go do it. I didn't cue it, but now I do. But a couple of the schools, they were actually going to do it to parent presentations. They were doing the parent nights. And that's powerful because now you got students giving parents direct, like, again, that side by side mentality. And they were doing it. The high schoolers were going down. They did it for parent night for high school and middle school parents, which I thought that was really cool.
Now, I think Beth told me that you did something for parents as well in Fulton. Is that, so you're,
We do a parent night. Yep.
Uh-huh.
And then we want you to live stream it because we get it. It's hard to be a parent. So I would suggest Facebook, but you guys know your streaming things the best. If you're like, I wouldn't promote you're pushing it on face, you're going to go live stream. You want them there in person, right? That's the ideal. And it's afterwards and you get the parents there. I cue them. Hey, if you like this, please go and share with the other parents that aren't here to go back and watch it.
okay.
And I've had schools again that are like close to each other. One, like I know Beth, it was her high school, middle school, and then they had their deaf school all promoted it together. And then we had one parent night.
Yeah. Yeah. We have 3 high schools of 1,800, but I don't know what the other situation would be. And then we have a couple middle schools that are near us too.
Yeah. And
So-
parents are hard to get to. So to be honest with you, you have to personally invite the parents you want there. And you need to personally invite anyone who runs the town Facebook pages. What does Fulton have? Fulton has like,
Yeah, you're right.
it's so bad. It was like the good, the bad, the ugly of Fulton.
Yeah, the good, bad, and ugly. You're right. Yeah, it's terrible.
It's so bad. So she was showing me that. I was like, next time you need it, I want you to invite all the page owners of this because I'm going to call them out on this page. They need to be, they need to change the name of this page.
Yeah.
And I've been able to get the parents when they've invited them, they've come, they've actually changed their policy and they've kind of taken down some posts because of what I shared with them on from it.
Okay.
So it's, yeah,
So-
it's very, but yeah,
So a
that's
typical model would be a full school-wide presentation
Mhm.
some point in the fall.
Yep.
And then embed some lessons. Like if we were going to do this, we would embed some lessons. We don't have a course that we're going to be creating. So we would embed some lessons in like our weekly How Time presentations, conversations there.
Yep.
Embed some of the models from like some of the admin side, things like that. That would be a typical model.
Yep. And that's package number 2. And that you get the curriculum, you get the presentation, and you get the parent night.
Okay.
We put virtual parent night because it'll probably cost a little bit extra because if I stay overnight, it'll cost extra for me to stay because I'll have to have a hotel for another day and rental. So that's why it's in there. It says virtual. But then if you pay the extra for me to actually, yeah. So that's what we'll have to work. It
We
might be-
actually, we have a little pop-up camper we're gonna put you in.
I'm down.
So there won't be any increased costs. It'll be good.
Is it Gertrude, the glamorous camper? I'm in.
Kim, where do I find the cost breakdown?
Yeah, it's on our website. I can put a link. It's on our website. If you go under educator, it's at the bottom.
So that's this
Did you guys find it or I can screen share it with you?
one, growth. Is that the one that's called growth? Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the second package. That's the one I would suggest you guys getting.
And then if we were to combo that with, say, another school in the district, would that, how does that work? Do you do district pricing or do you do?
We do a
building.
district pricing. I think it's like a certain percentage off if you get more.
Okay.
And then it helps with travel. So then the
Yeah,
travel,
saves the travel, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And let me tell you, it's like flights and car rentals have definitely skyrocketed. My friend just gave me government discount on my car rentals. So that has definitely helped a lot.
Good.
I'm like, thank you, nonprofit status. Thank you.
All right. So what are you doing with NASSP next week?
Yeah, so I'm doing 3 virtual presentations. It's different days. The first one, I will go in for an hour talking about, is it building trust first? I think it's building trust.
Mhm.
And then the other one's about investigations. I forgot what the other one. And then the third one I know is about digital boundaries and just helping you, like, how can you support your staff right now when they are stressed and your students are stressed, that mental health, and giving you our best practices on that end. And it'll be really interactive. And then I'm pulling some of the stuff that I'm working with, honestly, with that social media emergency plan, especially high school. Do you have all your social media links, like all your clubs and your sports? Like, do you know what social media sites are out there? I'll give you an actual Google form for you to have them fill that out. And then if someone leaves, do you have the password? And yeah, so and honestly, everyone should be making any school account under an admin email, because if you leave or if they leave, those emails are gone. So making sure you have those kind of things, because that's a big one that we have to help with, is when people leave, they're like, how do I get this account back? I'm like,
You don't.
yeah. So that's one example of something that I throw in there and just kind of make sure you guys have.
Right.
So,
All right.
get a support. Just here to support on the social media side. But yes, it's very much, all of it's all connected. All the social emotional issues you're having, a lot of it is connected back to social media.
Mhm.
And then we are helping with that. And again, students being part of the solution is a huge piece of it, if you can get that dialed in.
Now, what about like staff training? And when you come in and you do the day, is there then an additional staff training, or do you do just the parent training?
Yeah, I can do definitely can do a staff training. And again,
Mhm.
it's showing them how can they build like trust in their classroom.
Mhm.
And then it's also like, how do you interact with this age group now? Because they are so different. Like, it's a very different age,
Mhm.
different way of teaching them. So kind of helping them with, guiding them with that. And there's so many educators who are so against social media, like social media is a devil. And that's when you can't relate with them. When you make those kind of comments and you have that kind of mentality, when you can't relate with them, they tune you out. So it's just even teaching them that, like, it's okay, you don't have it, you don't need to have it. And you can be vocal about it and be like, oh, I don't have it. But you can just say, this is the reasons why I don't have it. But you're never going to convince them to like do that. You might be able to steer a few, but you can't come all, right?
Right.
So I think you just need to explain why, like, I'm not in group chats at all, because of what I do for a living. I used to think like every message was someone handling a school threat. And I was like, and my friends would blow up my phone and it would be nothing. Right. So I just said, can you put me in a group chat? If there's something you guys need, just text me individually. So that works for me, but does that work for everybody? No. So it's advocating for what works for each other. And they need to see that, right? So it's talking to your staff about those kind of things too, and having them as a staff. What is our boundaries, right? What time should we allow emails to go out at and tell? And what time should we send them in the morning? What should be the earliest message? And we all need to be on the same page. So I might draft it up at 8 p.m., but I can set a timer to send it out at 7:30 a.m.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, but yes, we get them all on the same page. I just did a staff and they were like, I mean, I hate tooting my own horn, but they flat out said this was the best training. Like, we need it because they're so lost in it and they don't know what to do. So it's very relevant.
Right. And then for you, like model wise, you like the model of large school and then train the trainer model for a couple of years after that.
Yeah. And sometimes it's easy. Like, I've done some of the stuff virtually now with some of these schools. I'm easily able to get 100 leaders on the video. And so it's easier on that end. And update the slides. I'm like, here's a new slide for this year with the slide notes. As long as I go through it a few minutes with them, they're set. And our students, our interns are making the PowerPoint presentations. Ugh, they're so good now. Like we just did one where it's like, how do you help students win in the digital world? And it's made by students, for students, but then I've been doing it to adults and it's been helping adults to understand them too. And it's all like the psychological kind of things too. So, yeah. Anyhow, let me know if you guys have any other questions, but hopefully we want to get all these booked. I'm getting a lot of people asking, so let's get those dates. If you guys are interested in the fall, let's get them on the calendar. And then what's nice too, John, is I'm getting a lot of Missouri schools that are wanting, so that we can hopefully get that back to back on that end. And then I know Kim, my SAC group is starting to reach out again now that you guys are open up.
That and we're gonna be transitioning admin, so
Really, again,
yeah. So me trying to get this, I'm gonna try to set it in stone before I even have a new admin.
I
How
love
about
it.
that?
Get it, girl. You're a smart woman. Smart woman. 'Cause, yeah, it does make a huge difference because yeah, it's yeah. I've gotten my best interns from that area too. So that's
Okay,
always
cool.
yeah. And then I'm speaking at the Minnesota admin conference this summer, and I'm speaking in December at Wisconsin. So that'll be good to be able to get a few more states in the Midwest. Because once I'm in front of all those admin, that's where we get all of our bookings from. I met
Are you
Lisa.
back at the wellness symposium this year from Missouri? Do you know yet?
I don't know yet. I don't know. But I am going to be at the Missouri's resource officer training this summer. So I don't know if you have a resource officer, if they're going to be at that.
Oh, really?
Yep. At the Lake of the Ozarks in June sometime.
Okay.
I'm training the resource officers. So
Yeah.
uh,
Cool.
I was
Well, what do
gonna-
we do if we want to? Do we just email you that we're interested and you'll tell us where dates are? Or?
Yep. If you want to send me some dates of what you want, but I know Lee Summit in Missouri, they're wanting, I think, around Labor Day. So I know they're already in. They're for sure wanting that date somewhere around there.
Okay.
But yeah, send us some dates and then I'll connect you with the booking people that they get it all booked.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Perfect.
We
Thank
send it. Do I send it? I think I have an email from you. I don't know.
It's either for me or the admin at I can help.
And they'll get it.
Either way, we know where to push it. So we'll just push it to one or the other.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, team. You
Thank
guys
you.
are awesome. Everybody.